Good morning, all, and thank you for joining us for what we accurately describe as a celebration. Today marks the 93rd repatriation or return ceremony, including those in the upcoming months. We will have returned more than 5,500 artworks valued at approximately $400 million to 35 countries and individuals. And as a boss, you're not supposed to have a favorite. It's kind of like being a father. Not supposed to have a favorite. But there are some cases and some days where the tragedies were so great and the joy so real that it is a fool's errand to pretend that it is just another day at the office. This is one of those days. And whether it's a homicide or an antiquity or an artwork, we cannot undo the crime or erase the pain. It is rather our duty and our privilege to stand like a bulwark against the tides of injustice and do whatever we legally and ethically can. Without hesitation, without respite, without fear or favor, so that each of us may say to our children and our children's children, I did my best. All of this has been made possible by the leadership, guidance, and steady hand of my boss, without whom we wouldn't be here, the District Attorney of New York County, Alvin Bragg, Jr., sir.
ADA Bogdanos is too generous and kind. It's his steadfast hand and leadership that really has directed this work. I share his sentiments about this day. I had a chance to meet beforehand with two families you'll hear from, and there's a lot to talk about today, but the top line, I think, is the extraordinary partnership and camaraderie and fellowship of these two families. And so as we talk about, obviously, horrific history and our global history, I want to really uplift that because it's both inspiring and I think sobering and instructive. So today we are returning a piece of Nazi-looted art to the family of Fritz Grünbaum, an Austrian-Jewish cabaret performer who was murdered in the Holocaust. And as ADA Bogdanos made reference to, we have had the privilege and honor of doing this a couple of times with this great family. So it is great to stand again alongside the relatives of Mr. Grünbaum for what is now our third ceremony, as this is the 11th artwork being returned to his family. And today, what makes it even more remarkable is we're joined not just by his family, but by the heirs of Gustav Papanek, who possessed this latest drawing until he passed away in 2022. As you will hear directly from them, both of these families have been deeply impacted by the Holocaust, and it is particularly moving for me to be here alongside them. I want to especially thank Judge Timothy Reif, Paul Reif, Monica Reif, along with many other members of the Grum-bound family who are here. And now I've had the privilege, you meet a family once, you get to know a little bit, you meet a family twice. Third time, I feel like we are family. And that's an honor. And then for the first time, I'm joining with members of the Papanek family, Joanne Papanek, Orlando, Rocco Orlando III from the Papanek family, and others. Really is a privilege to meet them and to be a part of this together. In addition to the extraordinary leadership of ADA Bogdanos, we would be nowhere on this work without our partners from HSI. And so we've got Acting Deputy Special Agent in Charge, Kevin O'Malley, and Special Agent Megan Buckley, whose tireless work on these matters is great. And I should also acknowledge from ADA McDonald's team, analyst Hillary Sachet, who I think is not here with us today, and also ADA Edward Smith. It really is phenomenal teamwork, both in government and then also with the families that make this, in addition to just the beautiful artwork and the history, all of that together makes this a particularly special day. So the artwork being returned today, Portrait of a Nude Woman, was drawn by the artist Egon Schiele. This piece, along with more than 80 other drawings, were stolen by the Nazis from Mr. Grum-bound before he was murdered in a concentration camp. Much of his extraordinary collection was sold to various institutions and galleries over the ensuing decades. The piece being returned today was purchased in Manhattan by Gustav Papanek's parents and gifted to him in 1969. When Mr. Papanek died in 2022, his relatives realized that something was amiss with the provenance. Wanting to and then doing the right thing, they reached out directly to the Grum-bound heirs. And I just really want to underscore that, this level of partnership and cooperation and realizing something was amiss and coming forward, I think is extraordinary and really needs to be underscored. And then from there, our Antiquities trafficking unit became involved. And on behalf of the entire office and the unit, just want to say it's just such an honor to play even a small part in this incredible partnership and returning these pieces to their rightful owners. Tracing the history of this artwork gives us an important opportunity to acknowledge the terrible stain in our world's history of the horrific events of the Holocaust and honor the legacy of those who were murdered. Doing so is just as important now as it was 80 years ago, and particularly so among rising anti-Semitism locally and nationally. And no matter how many years have passed since Mr. Grünbaum's death, it is never too late to celebrate his accomplishments and achievements. He enriched the world as a performer, writer, and director. I personally wish I could have seen him on stage in person, but the next best thing for all of us is to join together like we have today and make sure that his story and his artwork continues to be told for generations to come. So I thank, in particular, the families for bringing us to this sobering and inspiring day, and I thank our law enforcement partners, and we'll next hear from Acting DSAC O'Malley.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin O'Malley, and I'm the Acting Deputy Special Agent in charge of Homeland Security Investigations in New York. As part of my role, I oversee our cultural property, art, and antiquities group, which is partially responsible for the repatriation of the work you see before us today. I am honored to be here today with my esteemed colleagues, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and Judge Timothy Reif and his family, to return this artwork. As you likely know, this work predates the Holocaust and was among several items seized by Nazi leadership and then smuggled into the United States before being ultimately recovered. If you follow this case closely, you'll know this is the third time HSI and the Manhattan DA's office has come together with the Reif family to reunite them with pieces of their lost heritage. Over the years, agents with HSI New York's Cultural Property, Art, and Antiquities Group have had a hand in returning countless stolen artifacts to their home countries and rightful owners, many dating back centuries and all invaluable to their respective cultures. Each piece has a story that should be recognized, but with some cases, such as the one we're discussing today, we must take pause. These artworks have a history that we cannot ignore. They tell a story of the harsh realities that were endured by millions during the Holocaust. As you've heard from D.A. Bragg and those that will speak after me, these works were created by Austrian expressionist artist Egon Schiele and were purchased by Jewish art collector, operetta, and cabaret performer Franz Frederick Grünbaum. Mr. Grünbaum and his wife Elizabeth's fate tragically ended like so many victims at that time. They left this world thinking they had forever lost all of their worldly possessions, including their prized art collection, to the Nazi regime. We must never forget the unimaginable depravity inflicted upon Grünbaums and all who were killed during the Holocaust, nor can we reverse the inhumanities of the past. But we hope that we can, at the very least, provide the Reif family with the freedom to dictate for themselves how they choose to honor and recognize their slain loved ones, the ownership to do what the Grünbaums never could, decide for themselves. I would like to thank and commend the Papanek family, who recognize the importance of the artworks, origins, and the significance of the repatriation today. We also extend our heartfelt recognition to the investigative and prosecutorial team responsible for the successful recovery of these significant historical pieces. HSI New York's Special Agent Megan Buckley, alongside the Chief of the Antiquities Trafficking Unit, ADA Matthew Bogdanos, ADA Edward Smith, and Antiquities Trafficking Analyst Hilary Chassé, with whom we share an unwavering commitment and passion to ensure that unlawful acquired cultural property always finds its way home. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Paul Reif. On June 6, 1966, Robert Kennedy spoke these now famous words at the University of Cape Town, South Africa. Quote, "It is from numberless diverse acts of courage such as these that the belief that human history is thus shaped. Each time a man stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. What is often not recalled are his words that preceded the sentence, 'It is from these numberless diverse acts of courage.' That sentence reads, 'Thousands of unknown men and women in Europe resisted the occupation of the Nazis, and many died, but all added to the ultimate strength and freedom of their countries.' Fritz Grünbaum was one of those many thousands of whom Bobby Kennedy spoke. And so today our family has come to express gratitude. We are grateful for the life of Fritz Grünbaum, for the strength and courage and humor that he brought to all those around him in a time of ever-deepening darkness. We are grateful for the love and grace that he brought my grandfather and my namesake, Paul Reif, my great-uncle Francis Reif, and my great-grandmother, Elsa Kerner Fritz Reif. She had the superior intelligence and courage to save her family. I also express gratitude to so many others who came to the theaters of Fritz Grünbaum to feel the ripples of hope that his humor set forth, even as the Nazis committed senseless and execrable acts. Mortally ill and imprisoned in Dachau, Fritz eased and brightened the lives of those around him just 2 weeks before his murder. And we, as his family, seek to carry forth his legacy in the Grünbaum Fisher Foundation. This foundation uses the proceeds of the sales of works, including the one you have restituted today, to support young, wonderfully talented, and underprivileged performing artists. Today, our family is very grateful yet again to you, District Attorney Bragg, and to you, Special Agent in Charge Arvelo, Assistant District Attorney Colonel Bogdanos, Assistant District Attorney Edward Smith, Hilary Chassé, and the Department of Homeland Security Agent Megan Buckley, and today, Deputy Special Agent in Charge O'Malley. You do the hard and often thankless work for justice for so many. And today, as you mark another milestone in your exceptional and groundbreaking work to vindicate the rights of Fritz Grünbaum, we know that your work stands as a bright, shining light, not just to our family, but to all other families still working to achieve justice in these and other ways. On behalf of my family, I express deep thanks to the Papanek family for returning this painting. As we have said before, you, District Attorney Bragg, and your extraordinary team, in your law enforcement work, you have not forgotten. You do not forget. Your courageous actions give hope to the families of Holocaust victims worldwide that those who are concealing stolen property, no matter where they hide today, will ultimately face justice.
Good morning. So I'm Rocco Orlando, Gus and Hannah Papanek's son-in-law, and I'm speaking on behalf of my wife, Joanne Papanek Orlando, and my brother-in-law, Tom Papanek, on this important celebration. So we're really characterized here by really what is a bittersweet irony, the bittersweet irony of two families with a history of great harm and suffering because of the Holocaust. And it's really amazing to think that this generational harm, we're now 3 generations after this, and hearing Paul speak about the next generation and our education of our children and soon our granddaughters as they become old enough to understand what their family legacy is. And so we're really captured by the entwined histories of two families who suffered greatly. Now, Helene and Ernst Papanek, who acquired this drawing, did so to really connect themselves to their Viennese roots, to the roots of Austrian Expressionism, and it was very important with them to really to have this drawing in their home, and I know they derived great pleasure from it during those years. They, in their own right, are heroes of the Holocaust. Dr. Ernst Papanek, Joanne and Tom's grandfather, was a prominent socialist reformer, and he actively ran children's camps in France, taking Jewish children, socialist children, out of Austria, out of Germany, saving them and getting them to the United States. And so great heroism by the family. I think their stories of luck and escape and managing to avoid the snares of Nazi Germany, were very harrowing. And so again, we have these two families with these entwined and in many ways such similar stories. We are really compelled, as we learned about this upon the time of Gus's death, that there were questions about how this drawing had been obtained. And so, as others have said, really reached out, and we're really committed to do the right thing. I really want to quote my wife, who has stated, given our understanding of the circumstances, we believe that returning the Schiele drawing is the right thing to do. For us, the sad history of the Schiele works, including Seated Nude, will always represent one more loss for Gus and Hannah and serve as another reminder of the evil and brutality of the Nazi regime. And so we are happy to do this voluntarily, and we're really happy to have the opportunity to speak, to preserve that family legacy and to preserve the memory of those evil, and it's an evil memory that we can't forget and that we need to ensure that we pass on to our children, our grandchildren, and to future generations. And so I thank you for the opportunity to comment and to participate in today's celebration.